Hello, hi, welcome. Welcome to my YouTube channel, everybody. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring the notification bell. Now, I know we don't normally talk about American shows, but I talk about only the shows or movies that I like the most ever in the world. And Orange is the New Black has been a favorite show of mine now. I cannot believe they have, is it 7 seasons of it? So does that mean that I've been watching Orange is the New Black for 7 years. I've been following Piper Chapman for 7 years. It doesn't feel like 7 years. I remember when I first watched it at the beginning of its life. To be completely honest, I remember talking about it with a writer. I was at a comedy festival I was hosting. And I wasn't crazy about the first episode for, I don't remember why. I didn't get into it right away. And the comedy writer told me, she's like, look, you got to give it to like at least episode 4, season 1. And I trusted her opinion as a really talented writer, and I fell in love with the show. Every year it comes out, I love Netflix, so I could just binge watch. I just watch episode 1 to the end of the episode, the end of the season in a weekend or two. Or this actually, I was in the middle of moving, and my dog was kind of is not feeling so good. So so it took me a little longer to watch this one. I'm just looking at him as he's saying this, but I remember as I was watching it, and I moved. I've kind of been under a rock. I feel like one of my friends told me that this was the end of the show, and I was maybe 2 episodes before the last one. I was just thinking, what do you mean it's the end of the show? What do you mean there's no more Orange is the New Black? I just started crying because there are also a lot of really emotional parts in the show, which I'm gonna get into. That will be there. There's gonna be some spoilers, so I'm sorry. This is more of a video if you've already watched it and you want to see how I felt about the end of this. And as I watch Orange is the New Black religiously, I have not missed an episode. I know I've watched them. I've watched them more than once, to be honest with you, because as a woman, I really love watching shows, movies, whatever, with a strong female cast, and that is exactly what Orange is the New Black is. It's just amazingly strong female cast of women, and it's just, I'm so sad that it's over. I'm in shock, actually. I'm more in shock that it's over than anything else. So just, yeah, I'm I'm getting over it right now. I'm just kind of like a relationship that's ended, and just, it's the sadness of not having this to look forward to. And I read something on Variety, actually, that there might be some spin-offs. I'm really hoping that there will be spin-offs, but it was just really sad to see some of my favorite characters in it pass away. And we're going to talk about how Poussey died, and then I'm not going to say who died in case anyone's watching, because I sometimes watch spoilers too because I get really excited, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone. So one of my actual favorite character, I won't say her name, she passes away, and you don't think she's going to pass away. There's no sign that leads up into it. It's just like this awful shock that happens within a few minutes, and it's just kind of crazy because it's just like, oh, that's what they're saying. That's what the writers are trying to say in this part of the show. It was intense because you see a lot of people have specific character traits or things that they go through, ups and downs of different seasons, and you see them kind of, as individuals heal themselves and go on to be better people, but then they go back into their old ways, and basically that's how one of my favorite characters passes away, and it's just really sad. And you don't think she's gonna die, but she does. Like, there's no mention of it. And what I really loved about this season, I felt hey, I understand. I read what the writer said on Variety, and she said, look, we've been in prison for 7 years. It's time to, get out of prison. I understand that, but can't you just give us, this is the most popular show on Netflix. Why did you end it? I'm so sad it's over. Guys, I'm just really emotional right now. I'm sorry. Orange is the New Black is my favorite show, and I've always wanted I wanted to audition for it, at least just audition for it. I've been in LA and I haven't auditioned for it, but one of my friends was actually on, I think it was episode 8 or 9. This girl who everyone says we look alike, she was on it. So I was really I saw that and I was like really happy for her, which is cool. But just the actors on the show are so good. Watching the show, it's almost as if I'm watching it's just like acting class, because I mean, these women are actresses, and a lot of them have not gone to prison. The actor, I forget her name, that plays Piper, she does just such an amazing. I remember the first seasons of watching it, and after I watch the show, after I watch a season, I always just watch it thinking, wow, these girls are so good, because they just go up and down in so many levels, and to be able to express the feeling of, I went to prison. And then but most people don't really go to prison. I think it's a huge accomplishment for them. And also, I was listening to a story of one of the girls. She didn't really, her character wasn't in this season as much, and that was another thing that I was kind of upset about and sad about, was that there were some characters which are smaller characters, but they've had every season. Orange is the New Black is it's so great because they bring in different characters, and you grow to love these characters and learn about these characters, and you get so close to them, and then another storyline opens and then they go away. One of my favorite characters that we learned about was V, who had a really crazy demise, because you learn to love her and hate. You just loving and hating someone at the same time. Just having someone be so evil and so great, and then just the way that they got rid of her as a character was just epic. It was just so epic. But anyway, the characters, the thing that kind of upset me, that I was upset about, was that a lot of these smaller characters, I didn't see them throughout this season. There was a lot of new characters that came into play, and I thought, oh, well, they could have used these girls, and I don't know their budgets or whatever. I'm like, they could have used them in some of the episodes, because they had just such strong characters, like Boo or like the yoga teacher woman, and they were in. I think last season they had really big parts. This season, not so much. But my favorite characters now left over is Joe Caputo's character. You really kind of you see him change into this guy who's just this really awful. He was just like a bad warden, into this person who's actually really doing stuff for these girls who he really cares for, and now has this strong relationship. I forget her name, but I love this actress. She's so good. She played like the warden, and then she's like his girlfriend, and she's funny. Her timing on the show is just impeccable timing. She's just a great actress. I love her so much, and she's hot too. She's just like hot, good. Like she's the full package. Joe Caputo's girlfriend, warden in it. But what I really loved about this season, besides the part that they left out some of my favorite characters, which I forgive you guys, I hope they get spinoffs. What I really loved was that the writers showed so many things that are going on in today's society, and they just they showed the public what happens in prison. Because guys, I've never gone to jail before, and I've never done anything. I've never even been to a jail, except actually I shot a TV pilot in a jail. That was the closest, but it was empty jail. So that was the closest I've ever been to a jail. It was creepy. I can say that. It was very, very creepy. It was like a abandoned jail, but I can't imagine having to be so close to these scenarios. They basically lived prison for 7 years, because when you're working on a project, it's not just, oh, we're going to shoot that project. You actually have to research it and like go to the places and get the experts, because they want to make everything as true to what's going on as possible. And I really love that they incorporated, a big part of this season was ice, which I have some friends who are not legal right now, and it's just been it's really scary. It's very scary, and they're not. It's not. I know people who may their parents their parents weren't legal, and then their parents had to go back to their countries, and it can just destroy a family. I met a girl actually, and it was just this really sad story about how like her husband was brought here as a kid and doesn't even speak Spanish, and he was working as a contractor. And then I guess like the woman who hired like the team got angry at his boss, and they were just fighting back and forth. So I guess they left, but then she called them back. She apologized. She said, look, please just finish the job. And when they came back, she called the cops and said that they were stealing. Crazy story. And basically they weren't stealing. They just, they were working, but she was angry at their boss. So he ended up getting arrested, getting deported. They fought his case. He lost. And now he's in Mexico, and he doesn't even speak Spanish. It's just, and he has a wife and like 5 kids or something crazy in LA. And it's just really, really sad. You hear stories like that, and there's nothing he can do about it. And I heard this woman told me her story. And when I heard that story, I thought, oh my God, like, you think you have problems? Like, there's people out there who have like really, really big problems. And we saw that in this whole season. Like, yeah, there are a lot of people who are locked up for life or for 10 years, or, they leave prison and they can't pay for stuff. That's awful, totally horrible, totally terrible. But then there are people who didn't do anything. They just, like, one of the stories follows this woman, and it's a really interesting thing because I read about it after she actually, this happened to her parents, which is really sad. And her mom was actually deported, and it's just awful. I'm going to cry. It's just really sad, really, really, really sad. But you watch that and you just think, wow, like something definitely needs to be done. It's just one of those situations where it's just very overwhelming, and you don't know what can you do? What can I do to help? And that's one of the final of the episode, which I hope I didn't give away too many spoilers. I mean, there's so many things that went on. Oh my goodness. And I don't know if I should get into the final yet. Okay. Alex Voss and Piper Chapman, the love that lasts forever. But then you almost see Piper go off with someone else, and you almost see Alex go off with someone else, and you see Alex in a relationship with this female guard, and you think, okay, well, maybe this is better, and Piper actually kind of starts getting on her feet. It's just, oh, the drama in it. Guys, if anyone has watched it and wants to talk to me about it, let me know in the comments below. I'm trying not to give a million spoilers out, but wow, it was so great. And my favorite part about the end, and I'm still really upset about what happened to Cindy. That's the worst thing. And then there was this whole thing about Suzanne, and how Suzanne was just saying to herself, like she asked her mom if she deserves to be in prison, because she doesn't believe she deserves to be in prison. And her mom said, no, you don't. And that's a really sad thing, is that there's so many people. Yes, there's people who deserve to be in prison, but then there are so many people who don't deserve to be there. So just really, really sad. And then we see Cindy, who was the comic relief of the show, just, go through being falsely accused by her friends, which you see the life of a woman, her friend, who can't afford to, basically, like, this is the problem. And this is kind of a repeating theme that we see throughout the 7 seasons, is that you see some of these women and major characters of the show, you see them get released, but then they end up back in prison because they can't afford, and they don't know how to live outside of prison. And it's so overwhelming, because you want to help, and you want to, now I feel like I want to help women in prison, because it's just really sad. It's really, really sad what they have to go through. And so what happened is that one of these characters, she gets out, and then she just goes through some stuff. I'm not gonna, no spoilers, but she goes through some serious stuff, and she ends up homeless. But she's trying and she's struggling, and you see that she's doing a good job. But at the same time, you realize like it's really hard. And they had this whole GED thing where Tasty actually, she sits there and she calculates for the girls like how to survive or how to budget your money after prison. And she realizes, wow, you're actually going to be in the negative when you get out. So that's the problem, is that a lot of these women can't afford to live because their families have abandoned them. People are embarrassed of them. It's just, it's heartbreaking. It's totally heartbreaking. So we see people get out of prison and then go back to prison, and they're just kind of stuck in the system. And it's just very sad. And hopefully after this show, because I feel like this is the first show that's really made a difference in just like telling the world about this issue, and telling our people about this issue. And it's done a great job. I'm just really sad to see it off the air. And I understand it must be hard to do anything it's hard to do anything for 7 years, but it was just one of my favorite shows to watch, and I'm just really gonna miss it. Hopefully they'll have spin-offs, but I think the show itself is a really good, amazing addition. Special shout out to Netflix for doing it. Addition to our society, because it's important that we're educated and we know about things like this. And a lot of times we don't know about certain things, or just the system doesn't want us to know. And it was so enlightening to see, wow, this is what really happens. This is how funding works, because it just shows how all the funding was just messed up, and like they're trying to save money and you know and just keep everything really cheap, and then the inmates are eating expired food, or even the people that are detained by ICE. And the craziest part was they showed a scene of like, they built this courtroom where this judge had no breaks. She just had to sit there all day and go through ICE cases, and then there's these like 5-year-old kids, and the judge is talking to 5-year-old kids. Hold on, I need to get a tissue because I'm going to start crying. Really sad. Sorry, guys. I have a lot of strong opinions of this season. It was so good. You see the judge asking these like 5-year-old children about ICE and about staying in America, and just like it just was epic. But finally, anyway, there's so many things I can say about this, and if you guys want another video, I can totally make one. The end of the show, there's a special link to how you can help, and they've established a Pusey Washington Fund, which I think is kind of amazing. And it's basically going to be a fund for women who need to be able to make, to leave prison and be okay, so that they'll get, once they get out, they can, give back, they can get a loan, and they'll have to just give it back to the person so that they can get on their feet after leaving prison. Because that's really been the major theme of the show. But this season was amazing, and it just showed so many things that are kind of going on in our society that I didn't know about. And I just really want to thank the writers of the show. Dendra Kuhan is amazing. She got 19 Emmy nominations for this, and 2 wins, which is it should have gotten way more. It should have gotten way more wins and way more nominations. But I really love this season. I'm really sad to see it gone. Maybe Netflix will do a spinoff. I would hope that it would do a spinoff. Crossing my fingers. And yeah, guys, let me know in the comments below. Did you watch Orange Is the New Black? Do you like the show? And thanks for sitting here watching this with me. All right, guys, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring the notification bell. See you.